Chapter 13. Sam couldn't remember the last time she was so happy and content. Bluestreak and Bumblebee were cuddled up to her legs, talking excitedly over a pair of action figures they were playing with. She didn't recognize where the toys were from and wondered if there were cartoons or TV shows in this culture. Maybe some comic books or at least children's stories. There was so much Sam didn't know. Speaking of what Sam didn't know, Ratchet's location. One moment she was talking with the children, the next the medic had disappeared. He'd been gone for what felt like a long time. Sam hoped he would be back before too much longer. He was the only one so far who knew her secret, and she felt more than a little nervous being left alone. Well, not necessarily alone. Sam didn't mean just the children either. The black limping mech from before had returned to the med bay. He was walking a lot better now, but still seemed off-balanced in his gait. It fascinated Sam. The healing process for this species of mechanical beings seemed semi-similar, at least, to humans. It gave Sam some much-needed comfort, as if she hadn't lost everything from her prior life. Was this all some kind of symptom of shock culture? Or was that going to hit later? Sam didn't want it, and she knew it was going to hit sooner rather than later. She couldn't afford to not keep it together. Hey, where's Hatchet? Sam jumped as the black mech grunted at her. He hadn't fully acknowledged her up until that point. I don't know. I think he left a little while ago. Sam shifted a little in her seat on the med berth. Oh, gotcha. So I'm probably gonna be waiting a while here then. Who knows what that crazy mech is up to? He grunted, tiredly reached up and rubbed the back of his neck. I'm Ironhide, by the way. Don't think we've met yet. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you, Ironhide. She tried to stay as polite as possible. This mech seemed like he had an even more gruff personality than Ratchet, even if that seemed impossible. He just gave off an energy that left Sam more than a little scared of him. That was not even accounting for the last time she had seen Ironhide. Sam tried not to think too much about those hefty cannons. Nice to meet you too, youngling. Ironhide gave a little grunt and nodded. For a moment after, there was an almost uncomfortable silence, besides the sounds of the children playing. If Sam was still capable of sweating, she was certain she would be pouring buckets right now. Where are you from? Never heard a designation like Sam. Ironhide broke the tension again. He was trying to get to know her and make an effort, grumbly and rough though it was. In any other situation, she might have been grateful for it. Now it just made her heart jump up into her throat. Or, Sam supposed, whatever it was that was now in the place of her heart. Oh, a far way away from Cybertron. It wasn't a lie, but Sam still tripped over her tongue like she was. Great, this was where she got caught, for sure. Ah, I get it. One of those colonies we set up further out, right? Ironhide nodded, his face taking on a grin. It's good to get back to your roots, though, right? Come back to the home planet? Ha! There's nowhere like home. Sam was relieved. He had just filled in the blanks himself. Then a sense of pain hit. Ironhide just radiated patriotic pride. She could only imagine what he must be feeling right now, seeing his planet torn apart and his people dying left, right, and center. It made Sam's stomach churn with a sickly feeling. Yeah. She gave him a little smile, agreeing and trying not to think too much about the intrusive thought that had hit her. Earth could be considered a colony of sorts, right? I mean, she was there. Though, Sam had been human before. Ah, the colonies always pick the weirdest names. Ironhide laughed, suddenly much less scary. So what do you think of it so far? I mean, the base is beautiful. Your crystal gardens are gorgeous. Sam tried to hedge, careful not to mention the state of the rest of the planet. It was a weak attempt. There wasn't a way to fully dodge that, or sidestep it. There was an abrupt, strained silence. Just like that, the fear and tension were back. Sam's chest tightened. Had she answered wrong? You should have seen it at its peak, Ironhide murmured, his optics darkening. It was unmatched. I believe it, Sam kept her voice soft, trying to offer some level of comfort. I'm sorry. Don't be. Not your fault old Meg's lost his glitched processor. Ironhide waved a hand, shaking his head. A heavy sense of sadness and grief hung somewhere in the air. I'm still sorry it happened, Sam insisted, small and quiet. It sounded like they had been friends, the way Ironhide had used a nickname for the enemy leader. At least, it sounded like some kind of nickname. Yeah, me too. Ironhide frowned. Hey, I heard about what happened to you. You okay? Sam stopped, her throat feeling like it suddenly closed up. She hadn't thought about that since getting here. There hadn't been time to do so. All those buried memories of just days prior came rushing to the surface. The cruel laughter seemed to ring in her ears again, and the pain from the injuries that had since healed pulsated over her body. Hey, youngling, you're here. You're safe. Ironhide reached out and touched her shoulder. Sam jumped, almost reacting negatively, and punching him. She barely held back from doing so. Ironhide, despite that, had successfully pulled Sam back and away from the trauma that she had yet to deal with on a personal basis. Sam didn't even know if she would have time to do so anytime soon. Sorry. Sam shook her head, distressed. Everything was suddenly overwhelming and also real. She wasn't just lucid dreaming. She was stuck on an alien planet. How was she supposed to deal with that? Sam was never going to see her cousins again. She was never going to spend time with her aunt and uncle again. It was all gone. Her job, her schooling, and even her hobbies. All gone. Don't be. I shouldn't have asked. Ironhide patted the shoulder he had a hold of, frowning and looking concerned. Clearly, he was guilty. No, you shouldn't have. A familiar gruff voice piped up, sounding none too pleased. Ratchet! Ironhide jumped, yanking his hand back as if he had been burned. There you are! I was looking for you! Sam wanted to laugh. Ratchet was standing in front of them with his hands on his hips, leaned to one side. He reminded her of a disgruntled spouse about to scold their significant other. Uh-huh. Ratchet sounded utterly unimpressed. And just why are you in here, bothering my patients? Hey, I'm a patient too. Ironhide huffed, crossing his arms. You're a pain in my aft is what you are. Now, out with it, and it better be good. Ratchet narrowed his optics at him. Even the children were quiet. Well, I'm feeling better, right? Ironhide started, looking more than a little nervous. So I was thinking maybe you could release me back to active duty? He ended his request hopefully. Sam almost felt sorry for the big guy. Things were not going to go his way, she could already see it. The children let out little pained oohs as they watched. Everyone could see the crash coming except the victim. Let me get this straight. Ratchet breathed out slowly. You want me to release you to full duty before I, as a medic, have made sure you've made a full recovery? He spoke slowly, as if Ironhide might not understand him. I mean, I feel normal? Ironhide's hope was dying slowly. You feel normal, Ratchet huffed. Ha! That's rich. What's normal for you? Being a moving scrap pile? I think not. But Ratchet, they need me. They need a whole lot more than you, Ironhide. You aren't going to make the difference you think you are, and you'll be a lot more helpful as a fully functional bot. Ratchet was starting to do that twitching thing. The twitching thing that warned of incoming pain. I know, Ratch, but I really think I'm fully healed now. Really! Ironhide was now earnest, standing up and gesturing with his palms. I'm not limping anymore. That's because the supporting crosses have healed. Ratchet's gray, gear teeth came to bear. Your cabling is still in semi-tatters. That twitching thing was becoming a lot worse. A wrench had found itself into Ratchet's right hand. That shocked Sam out of her stupor. She didn't know if it was normal for Cybertronians to be violent around their children, but for her, it wasn't. Moving faster than Sam thought possible of her body, she slipped from the table, scooped up both the children, and escaped out the medbay door. Sam had just gotten past the door with the squeaking children in her arms before she heard the sound of metal on metal. Ironhide's yowls and Ratchet's yelling followed shortly after. It seemed like she had cut it really close. "Didn't you look?" Bluestreak whined, wiggling against her. "Where are we going?" "I want to play some more," Bumblebee protested, joining in his new friend's struggle to get away. "We will play more. Just away from the medbay, okay?" Sam soothed them. "But I want to play now!" The whining was going up in pitch. "It'll only take a moment," Sam tried to reason with them, making her way down the hall as fast as she could. She could remember the exact way to the garden, something she hadn't been able to do before. "How long is a moment?" Distracted now, Bumblebee gaped up at her. "Too long," Bluestreak declared fussily. "It's not long at all. I'm taking you to the garden. You'll get to run and play there." Sam was trying to both soothe and keep them busy as she made her way across the base. Thankfully, it really was only a moment to get there. Sam found herself additionally grateful for automatic sliding doors. Those glass double doors just opened for her, not requiring her to put down one of her children. She was able to just hop on through with her cargo and set them down on the pathway. "There, see?" Sam patted their heads. "It's okay. Let's play here." "It's so pretty here," Bluestreak gaped around at everything. "Oh, I know this place. Come on, Blue. I'll show you my favorite spot." Bumblebee grabbed Bluestreak's hand and started pulling him along the pathway. It only took a few steps for them to be giggling and jogging down the pathway together, hand in hand. Taking a deep, relieved breath, Sam started following after them. This was much better than the medbay already. Hopefully, they would tire themselves out for bed and Sam could just carry them back while they were out in recharge. Bumblebee led them both deeper into the garden, to another corner that Sam hadn't been to yet. At the end of the path was a large open space. It was big enough for them to run around in and was filled with all kinds of toys. The edges were rimmed with benches, one of which Sam settled into to watch them from. It was so calming, watching the two run back and forth, playing everything from something that resembled tag to superhero roleplay. Their laughter and cheers brought a warm smile across her face. Sam was still struggling, especially after the bomb Ironhide had dropped on her. Things were starting to press in a little too close. How could she let go of her prior life? Did she want to? Would Sam ever return to that life? Did she even want to? Questions she didn't have answers to, but still struggled with. Below everything, though, was a little guilty, niggling thought. Sam wasn't so sure she wanted to go back to where she had been, or ever be human again. Despite all the bad going on here, Sam felt more at home here than anywhere else. "Are you all right?" A familiar, warm, smooth voice rumbled and broke into Sam's thoughts. "Oh! Optimus!" Sam jumped. "Hi! Wanna sit?" She scooted over, giving the looming Prime enough room to take a seat beside her. "Perhaps I will for a moment." With a small nod, Optimus settled onto the bench beside her. They were almost touching, with barely an inch between their bodies. He was warm. A heat just radiated from his entire form. For a time, they just quietly watched the children playing together.